Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and I just got back from the new film, The Legend of Hercules. So this is the first of two Hercules films that will be released in 2014, and I guess this is the less notable one because the other one is starring The Rock, and this is starring Kellen Lutz, who is like the seventh guy down from Twilight. The main reason I wanted to see this movie was because it's directed by Renny Harlin, and the other Hercules is actually directed by Brett Ratner, which sounds a lot more horrible to me. Renny Harlin was kind of like one of those schlocky action directors of the 90s. I mean, 20 years ago, he had just done Cliffhanger, which is a great, fun 90s action movie, great escapism. And while I was watching The Legend of Hercules, I was thinking about like what makes a really great escapist director, and there's two guys right now like James Wan and Justin Lin who are very good at it. But as I was watching it and I was thinking about what makes escapist, big budget stupid action movies work so well is the spectacle, is the action sequences are always fun. There's a fun to it, there's an energy to it, and this film does move actually pretty quickly, which is kind of one of its strengths. But after a while, it's so bad it can't escape how drudgy and terrible it is, and how there's no real connection to the character. Maybe the action sequences will be cool. I mean, Renny Harlin did one of the most famous action sequences in Hollywood history, where a stuntman was literally paid $1 million to do that one stunt at the beginning of Cliffhanger. Well, the action sequences in this film are pretty badly shot. In fact, the editing and the 300 slow-mo they do quite a bit in this ruins any fight sequence they have in this film. They're cut up and shot so poorly. Sometimes I'm not sure who's fighting who. There was no kinetic energy to the fights. There was no fun to them. The camera was moving all over the place. Just some really unflattering shots that just didn't make the fights look cool. Sometimes the camera would be behind stuff, and sometimes they would have a good shot, but they'd cut away from it just as quickly. And none of the fights look that horrible. I mean, most of the time in an action movie, when you see them cut very quickly, it's because you can tell the fight choreography in the fight is fairly forgettable. Although this movie is incredibly forgettable, the action sequences, they're not like The Raid or any, master of martial arts or master of fight choreography. If Renny Harlin had remembered how to shoot a really good action sequence, like he used to be able to do so well. And since he can't even do that, and he's not a strong director with like character or plot or story or actors, this movie has literally nothing to offer. I was thinking about someone like Justin Lin, who I liked his entries in the Fast and the Furious franchise, particularly the last two. And I was thinking, like, if those fun action sequences weren't in that film, would I like it? While watching The Legend of Hercules, I have to say, I don't think I would. They're made to have those action sequences be amazing and fun. When those films are made badly, they're horrible to watch because they're being held together very poorly with like scotch tape. The Legend of Hercules doesn't work at all. It's just bad entertainment. It doesn't have any kind of schlocky reason to even like it. Even the main star in it, Kellen Lutz, has no real charisma. He has really no business being a leading man. When he's looking kind of intense, it just looks like he's thinking really hard. But I also noticed at the beginning of the film, we don't really get any mediums of him. We don't get any close-ups of him. So for a while, I was like, wait, what does he look like as Hercules? Like, it took like a couple minutes for them to show us, and then when we do get a shot of his face, he's doing yet another bad action sequence. And then you have like terrible CG. This thing is like barely passable at the theater. It's just a terrible January movie. I mean, it has some odd parts to it when Hercules' mom has sex with Zeus, which Zeus doesn't appear himself, but the sheets she's in kind of act like there's wind in them. I guess it's not technically a masturbation sequence, but that's kind of what it looks like. It's like one of the weirdest sex sequences I've ever seen in a motion picture. Her real husband comes in, he's all mad, like, where is this guy? Like, you don't see a guy, you just see all this wind. It looks like she's having sex with a ghost. It's not only like a bad, incomprehensibly shot with its action sequences, but it brings the slow-mo out more and more as it goes on. So it like gets even worse as it goes on. It's like more grating as it progresses. There's some plot elements that are just bizarre, like he's going to get his bride back within 3 moons. He is sent to be with this army. He's sold into slavery. He becomes an amazing slave fighter, which then sets him free. And then he starts this rebellion against the king. And he does this all in 3 nights, which is very impressive. And I applaud Hercules' time management skills. I'm starting to wonder, was it 3 days or not? I mean, 3 nights, not a lot of time to plan a wedding. Maybe it was like 4 nights to plan the wedding. The action sequences are incomprehensible. The slow-mo is boring. Hercules having superpowers, I mean, he's already Hercules. He doesn't need a lightning sword. And the good thing is I already have an entry for what's probably going to end up being one of the worst films of the year, and hopefully it won't get much worse than this. So if you've seen The Legend of Hercules and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.